Fight for God. Order. Country. Families. Itself like we don't care. You fight!
When the warring armies laid aside their arms in 1865, they left behind a legacy of valor and accomplishments unsurpassed in the annals of American history.
One of the most famous military units of the 4-year-long struggle was the Confederacy's Stonewall Brigade. The brigade was comprised of the 2nd, 4th, 5th, 27th, and 33rd Virginia Infantry Regiments. It was first commanded by Brigadier General Thomas J. Jackson. Jackson and his brigade fought so determinedly at First Manassas, or Bull Run as the Federal Army would call it, that they would be known forever as Stonewall Jackson and the Stonewall Brigade. The name Stonewall came during the fighting when the brigade was noticed to be holding its position against the Yankees as if they were an impregnable stone wall. Veterans of the legendary brigade were extremely proud of their war record. For as long as they lived, they regularly gathered for company, regimental, or brigade reunions. On September 13, 1894, the veterans of the Monroe Guard, Company D of the 27th Virginia Infantry, Stonewall Brigade, gathered for a reunion in Monroe County, West Virginia. The original company was organized in April and May 1861 when it was enlisted for Confederate service in Monroe County, Virginia.
All 108 soldiers were part of the 27th Virginia Infantry, which was assigned to the 1st Virginia Brigade, which was commanded by the yet unknown Colonel Thomas J. Jackson.
From humble beginnings, the men of the Monroe Guard would go on to become part of a brigade that fought some of the largest and most decisive battles of the American Civil War: Chancellorsville, Gettysburg, and Spotsylvania, just to name a few.
At war's end, in April 1865, few of the 108 original members of the company were still in the ranks. Many had been killed or wounded during the course of the war.
At the September reunion in 1894, only 11 members of the old Monroe Guard were able to attend. Each veteran wore a large Stonewall Brigade veterans ribbon proudly pinned to his jacket.
Of those attending, some had colorful and distinguished careers.
William Preston Young, a farmer, began his enlistment in the Monroe Guards as a corporal, eventually working his way to first lieutenant. He often commanded the company and was captured at the Battle of Spotsylvania, Virginia on May 10, 1864. Incarcerated in Fort Delaware Military Prison, he was finally released in June 1865.
After the war, he returned to farming. He died at age 75 in 1913.
Lachlan C. Vass was a 30-year-old Presbyterian minister when the war began.
He joined the 27th Virginia in December of 1862 as chaplain. He administered to the spiritual needs of the soldiers and was captured at Frederick, Maryland in July of 1864.
He was sent to Baltimore, exchanged in August, and spent the remainder of the war in Petersburg, Virginia as post chaplain. Following the war, the Reverend Vass was chaplain of the University of Virginia for more than 30 years before his death in 1896. One of the most outstanding former soldiers at the reunion was Richard S. McCartney. A 20-year-old student when he enlisted, McCartney was captured at the Battle of Kernstown, Virginia in March 1862. Imprisoned by his captors, he was later released. He served much of the war as regimental color bearer, a post of honor, but dangerously visible in battle. Flag bearers and members of the color guard were often killed and wounded. McCartney was shot twice during the war. His first wound was in the right thigh at Chancellorsville in May 1863, the second in the right temple at the Battle of Cold Harbor in 1864. He was sent to a Richmond hospital to recover from the head wound and later transferred to one in Lynchburg. Due to his wounds, he was absent from his company when it was surrendered at Appomattox Courthouse in 1865. The men of the Stonewall Brigade never forgot their old commander, General Thomas Jackson.
In July 1891, 30 years after achieving fame at the Battle of Bull Run, the members of Stonewall Jackson's old brigade took part in ceremonies dedicating a statue to him at his grave in Lexington, Virginia.
On the day of the dedication, the graying veterans formed a column and marched to General Jackson's gravesite, led by none other than Monroe Guard Sergeant Richard McCartney, carrying the battle flag of the Confederacy.